Deep in Alaska's icy wilderness, stories of a mysterious underground pyramid have surfaced. Some say it holds unknown powers, while others believe it is being hidden by the United States government. Testimonies from witnesses suggest it exists, yet officials remain silent. One man, determined to uncover the truth, went missing during his search for the pyramid. Why are so many people convinced of its existence? What exactly is the government hiding? The questions grow, but one thing is clear. Something has emerged in Alaska, and the US government is panicking. The blank on the map. There are stories that leave you wide-eyed and make you lean in a little closer. This is one of those stories. On a dry day in May 1992, something incredible happened under the dusty, barren desert floor in China. Scientists set off an underground nuclear test. The explosion shook the Earth, and seismographs miles away picked up strange readings. They expected the usual signs of a test blast, but this time, something unusual appeared in the data. Deep under the Earth, hidden and unmapped, was a massive structure. It was shaped like a pyramid and measured larger than the Great Pyramid in Egypt. And here is the twist: it wasn't near China, but far away in the wild, rugged landscapes of Alaska. It took another 20 years before the full story surfaced. On July 26, 2012, Linda Moulton Howe, a journalist known for digging into unexplained mysteries, spoke on the radio about this hidden pyramid. She shared details from a pre-recorded interview with a man named Doug Muchler. Muchler wasn't just any source. He was a former United States Army counterintelligence officer, someone trained to observe details and notice the unexplainable. Muchler had a story to tell, one he had kept for years. Back in 1989, Muchler was stationed at Fort Richardson in Alaska. He was curious about the land, interested in prospecting, and managed to get his hands on a detailed state map. He took it back to his room and pinned it to the wall. The map was so massive it took up an entire wall in his bedroom, stretching from corner to corner. But there was one odd detail that caught his attention. A blank white rectangle space stood out, as clear as day. It was about the size of a postcard, and it seemed someone had intentionally left it empty. The text on it mentioned something about unsurveyed land. For a seasoned intelligence officer like Doug, this blank spot was a red flag. An unmarked area like that doesn't usually exist on maps, especially of United States territory. It hinted at something hidden, maybe something the public wasn't meant to know. Muchler found this strange, but there was no clear answer, and so, for the time being, he let it slide, pushing the curiosity to the back of his mind. That all changed in 1992. One night on Fort Richardson Base, he was watching the local Channel 13 news with around 40 other soldiers. The broadcast caught everyone's attention. It was a breaking news story about a massive underground pyramid discovered in Alaska, buried somewhere near Mount McKinley. A simplistic computer animation flashed on the screen, showing the outline of the pyramid beneath the ground, linking it back to recent geological findings. The report was brief, just enough to spark interest, and left a strange sense of mystery hanging in the air. The next day, still intrigued, Muchler called his father, a man who kept up with every bit of news he could find. Yet when Muchler asked about the pyramid, his father seemed confused, saying he hadn't heard a word about it. Puzzled, Muchler decided to follow up and headed down to Channel 13, the very station where he had seen the story the night before. He asked for a copy of the broadcast, or at least some information about it, but at the station, people looked at him like he had lost his mind. The staff insisted there had been no such story. The general manager himself assured Muchler that no report like that had ever aired. But as Muchler walked out, disheartened, a film editor approached him quietly. With a serious look, the editor told him he couldn't help Muchler openly, but he confirmed, yes, that story had indeed aired. In addition to this, she also revealed that two unknown men had confiscated the tapes. This confirmation gave Muchler just enough encouragement to keep looking for answers. Over the years, he kept trying to uncover more details, hoping for something solid. At one point, he even searched through government records and files. But his digging hit a hard stop when two officials caught him in the act, pulled the files right out of his hands, and firmly reminded him that he didn't have the clearance to access this information. Whatever he was looking into, it was clearly something the government was not keen on sharing. For nearly 20 years, Muchler held on to this story, replaying the odd events and wondering about the strange broadcast that had vanished without a trace. Finally, he decided to bring his story to someone who might listen. Turning to Linda Moulton Howe, an investigative journalist. Maybe, he thought, someone there would take him seriously. He spoke to Linda, describing his memory of that pyramid report. Muchler didn't find the answers he sought, but his questions kept piling up, each one adding to the mystery. It was as if the ground beneath Alaska held secrets that no one was supposed to uncover. That strange white rectangle on the map, the broadcast that vanished, the officials who shut him down, all pieces of a puzzle Muchler still couldn't solve. And while no one knows if that pyramid is truly buried under Alaska's rocky terrain, the mystery itself has grown. But the story didn't stop there. In fact, it took a much stranger turn soon after, when new, unsettling details began to surface. More witnesses. The very next morning, after Linda Moulton Howe's talk with Doug Muchler, she received a message from someone new, a man who claimed his father, a former Western Electric engineer, had first-hand knowledge of this mysterious pyramid buried in Alaska. This engineer had worked on it, or rather, on the strange power system that the Dark Pyramid supposedly generated. His son explained that his father had worked on a highly classified project, a massive underground pyramid hidden deep in the Alaskan wilderness. This project had strict security measures, and the son mentioned that his father always described it as a structure not built by human hands. The father, according to his son, had been chosen by the military between 1959 and 1969 for a top-secret task. After World War II, the engineer had studied electrical engineering and physics and had been selected to join a team of experts on this mysterious project. He described the Dark Pyramid as a powerful source of energy, something far beyond the usual technology. It wasn't just the engineering that stood out, it was the extreme secrecy. The government, according to this witness, went to great lengths to make sure nobody outside the project ever heard a word about the pyramid. This wasn't the only strange account Linda heard. Another man, Bruce L. Pearson, reached out to her. His father, he explained, had a different but equally mysterious experience with the Alaskan pyramid. Pearson's father had served in the United States military with a decorated career and eventually retired to a small village in Alaska. He became close with two military pilots who were around his age. The three hit it off instantly, talking about their days in the service, sharing stories, and enjoying each other's company. When the two pilots prepared to leave, they invited Pearson's father along for a helicopter ride to a remote area a few hours away. They thought it would make the trip more enjoyable. Pearson's father, curious and ready for adventure, joined the pilots on the flight. He quickly realized this wasn't going to be an ordinary trip. As they flew closer to the area, one of the pilots warned him that the helicopter's instruments might start acting up. Apparently, Whenever they got close to this hidden site, the electronics on board went a bit wild. Soon enough, that's exactly what happened. Alarms beeped, radars blinked, and other systems flickered on and off. Pearson's father felt a strange tension as he looked out over the remote Alaskan wilderness below. Although the helicopter's main functions weren't affected, the disruption of their equipment made him wonder just what they were approaching. Finally, they reached a remote open area with a landing pad in the middle of nowhere. Pearson's father spotted several old mining shafts scattered around, something he recognized from his younger days growing up near mining towns. When they touched down, it wasn't the wilderness that caught his attention, it was the men who met them. Without a word, several men in plain suits arrived. They looked out of place and had no visible badges or logos to identify them. In a quiet, practiced manner, they approached the helicopter, grabbed some mysterious cargo that had been on board, and loaded it into a nearby jeep. The whole scene felt tense and wordless, almost as if everyone was trained to avoid questions or conversation. No one acknowledged the presence of Pearson's father, and within moments they were ready to take off again. For years, Pearson's father kept that flight as a curious memory, something that stood out among his military experiences. He didn't talk about it often, but shared enough with his son to leave a lasting impression. Bruce later attempted to locate the site based on his father's description, hiring a pilot to survey the area. They reportedly discovered signs of human activity, including an old airstrip and road not present on any official maps. Both of these stories, first from the engineer's son and then from Bruce Pearson, echoed what Muchler had experienced. There seemed to be multiple people who believed in this hidden Alaskan pyramid. However, like all great mysteries, just when you think you have reached the end, a new thread appears. Something so unexpected, it raises more questions than answers. The power beneath. So far, we have somewhat been able to establish that there is a hidden pyramid buried beneath Alaska's wilderness. But there is more to this mystery than just its location. The real question is, what kind of power does it hold, and how could it possibly affect us? You see, Alaska is a land of extremes, stretching over 2.5 times the size of Texas, with every kind of climate you can think of, from icy Arctic tundras to thick rainforests. Alaska's landscape has it all, and most of it is nearly untouched. Huge parts of this state are uninhabitable or federal land, tightly managed or strictly off-limits. Military bases sit just outside Anchorage, and the state is home to secretive projects and facilities like the HAARP site near Fairbanks. Some say that these facilities could even have effects on Alaska's weather or might alter the famous Northern Lights. Then there is the mystery of Alaska's Dark Pyramid. People who believe in it say it's buried deep underground, hidden in the wilderness. But the real intrigue comes from what's called pyramid power. This idea suggests that pyramids, no matter where they are, can pull in electromagnetic energy from the air and somehow send it out. There are theories that this energy, in the right conditions, could even affect human consciousness. Sounds strange? Some scientists think it might be possible, especially considering that the Earth itself is wrapped in an electromagnetic field. This link between the Earth's magnetic field and human consciousness isn't just fantasy. Scientists like Todd Murphy and Michael Persinger have studied how changes in magnetic fields impact the brain. They even invented something called the God Helmet, a device that can change someone's state of mind by using electromagnetic signals. It's been used in research, and they found that these shifts in the magnetic field could boost mental clarity and even influence how people think. With this in mind, if a pyramid were powerful enough to pull energy from the Earth's field, it might actually be able to affect people nearby. Maybe not like a science fiction movie, but even subtle changes could make a difference. Without a doubt, there is something about the mystery of Alaska's Dark Pyramid that pulls people in, almost like it has a power of its own. The stories say this massive hidden pyramid can harness energy beyond what we know, affecting anything within its walls. According to some, even a tiny quartz pyramid might do anything from tenderizing meat to sparking romance, or even cleansing bad smells from a room. But with Alaska's hidden giant, we are talking about a power on a much larger scale, something that could change everything. Those who dig deeper into the rumors say that if the Dark Pyramid's real, it might even be able to power the entire nation. Imagine what that means for a structure buried deep under one of the coldest, harshest places on Earth. And it wouldn't just be about energy. Some believe that whatever lies below Alaska could disrupt communications on a global scale. Its location, hidden so deep in the wild, is perfect for keeping it out of sight. The setup around it seems as if designed to keep it secret. No obvious military presence, no fancy landing zones, no obvious pathways leading right to it. Just miles and miles of harsh Alaskan wilderness. If anyone wanted to see the Dark Pyramid, they would have to be prepared for a brutal journey, battling relentless mosquitoes, freezing temperatures, and storms that could last for days. Only those with the skills and grit to survive these conditions might even stand a chance of getting close. It's a legend that doesn't just make you wonder, it makes some people want to prove it. They want to see if the stories are true, if this thing is really out there. And it's this pull that has led some to risk it all, to step into the unknown, hoping to unlock whatever secrets lie within Alaska's unforgiving landscape. For one man, a seasoned adventurer, that curiosity became an obsession. He set out to find the Dark Pyramid himself, prepared to face whatever the wilderness threw at him. Subscriber's Pick. Before we continue with the rest of the video, here is today's subscriber's pick. In the image we are looking at, a massive metallic structure hovers over the ocean, casting a shadow that stretches across the water. It looks like a colossal, futuristic ring, its sleek, metallic surface gleaming in the light. The left side shows the object near the surface, while the right side reveals it rising into the clouds. Its sheer size is overwhelming, making the scene appear almost unreal. Some are calling it an unidentified flying object, while others suspect a new military experiment gone wrong. Something has emerged in Alaska, and the US government is panicking. This is the headline of some online forums and news outlets. Could this be an advanced aircraft, or is it something far beyond human technology? Is this image real, or is it just another impressive Photoshop creation meant to stir up conspiracy theories? The texture of the clouds and the way the light hits the object make it hard to tell. Still, with so many strange things happening lately, it's no surprise that people are paying attention. What do you think this object could be? Do you believe it's real, or is it a cleverly edited image meant to fool us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Pyramid Hunter. They say Alaska's wilderness keeps secrets well, and the story of Nathan Campbell is one of those mysteries that leaves you wondering what happened out there. On a chilly May morning in 2020, 41-year-old Campbell boarded a charter plane in Talkeetna, Alaska, bound for the remote shores of Carey Lake. His gear was loaded: weeks' worth of food in plastic tubs, a tent, basic camping supplies, and a two-way satellite communicator. Campbell wasn't heading out for an average camping trip. He had a different kind of journey in mind. one that most people would consider bizarre, maybe even dangerous. The dense wilds of Denali National Park stretched out below him, hundreds of square miles of harsh, untamed wilderness. But that's exactly where he wanted to be. Carey Lake was a small spot, just a mile-long stretch of water, lay surrounded by miles upon miles of untouched wilderness. There were thick walls of alder trees and shallow ponds hidden within the landscape, making the land nearly impassable. It was a place where even moving a short distance could turn into hours of brutal bushwhacking. Lake Minchumina, the closest settlement, had just 13 residents and was more than a week's hike away. Out here, he would truly be on his own. But isolation wasn't Campbell's main goal. His reasons for being there weren't exactly simple or ordinary. He wasn't out to hike or fish or enjoy the summer. He was on a mission. As he soared over the dense green forest, with miles of boreal trees stretching in every direction, he shared his story with Jason Sturgis, the pilot flying him in. He told Sturgis that he had come here to search for Alaska's legendary Dark Pyramid. According to Campbell, stories of this hidden pyramid and its mysterious location in Alaska's wilderness had long intrigued him. Following the whispers and clues he had picked up, he was finally here, ready to spend his summer searching. To most, the idea of a hidden pyramid in Alaska might sound like fantasy, but for Campbell, every detail of the legend had its own purpose, its own call to explore. The supposed location of the Dark Pyramid has been linked to geostrategic theories for nearly a century. Back in the 1930s, General Billy Mitchell, sometimes called the father of the U.S. Air Force, recognized that places like Lake Minchumina, roughly 40 miles from where Campbell was dropped off, held unusual significance. Mitchell pointed out that a plane taking off from that area could reach major global cities, Tokyo, Moscow, Paris, New York, on a single tank of fuel. In his mind, the middle of nowhere could easily become the center of everything, especially in times of war. It's easy to see how this type of thinking might draw in someone like Campbell, whose interest in mysteries had pulled him into the wilds of Alaska. He had spent months preparing for this journey, piecing together stories, historical accounts, and fragments of old interviews, all hinting that something strange lay hidden out here. It appeared to have all made sense to him, despite the danger. The locals knew of others who had come through before, caught up in Alaska's wild conspiracy lore, but few had actually ventured this deep. Many had set out with a bold vision, yet were unprepared for Alaska's brutal landscape. The weather could turn deadly in hours, and out there, a mistake could mean days without food, water, or any hope of contact. Campbell, though, was equipped, but out here, even the most prepared can be caught off guard. The wilderness took him. Nathan Campbell's journey into Alaska's rugged backcountry was meant to be his ultimate adventure, but it turned out to be his last. A few days in, he messaged his wife through the satellite communicator, letting her know everything was going according to plan. But after that, nothing. Some say Campbell's trip was all about uncovering the truth of Alaska's Dark Pyramid, and others wondered if his search was simply an excuse to escape into the wilderness. Whether he truly believed the legend or simply wanted time alone in the wild, no one can say. Maybe he was trying to satisfy a curiosity that had lingered for years, or perhaps he wanted a real adventure, something most people wouldn't dare attempt. Whatever his reasons, Campbell was clear on one thing with his pilot, Jason Sturgis. He expected to be picked up at Carey Lake in mid-September, right before Alaska's brutal winter set in. Sturgis took off that May day, watching Campbell and his gear disappear into the thick Alaskan wilderness. It was the last time anyone saw him. After the text from Campbell's satellite communicator stopped, no one thought much of it for a while. Maybe he was having technical issues, or maybe he had decided to go deeper into the wild. When the days stretched into weeks without a word, Campbell's wife began to worry. She contacted Sturgis, who suggested she call a helicopter company to check on the campsite. Whether anyone actually went out to search, or if any messages got through, remains unclear. It wasn't until September 15th, the day he had arranged for his return flight, that a full search team was finally sent to Carey Lake. What the rangers found was strange. Scattered around the abandoned campsite were pieces of Campbell's gear, cracked food containers, damp clothes, and a tent beaten down by months of Alaskan weather. A faded journal, chewed at the edges by rodents, lay in his tent. The last legible entry was dated late June and read only, "Went to get water." Beyond that, there were no other signs of him. No footprints, no tracks, nothing to explain what had happened. It was as if Campbell had simply vanished into the Alaskan wilderness without a trace. Search teams combed the area for days, scouring the dense brush, checking every ridge, and circling over the site in helicopters. They covered every possible route he might have taken, but in the end, it was no use. By October, the search was officially called off, and Nathan Campbell was declared missing. For his friends and family, it was a painful, open-ended mystery with no clear answer. And while some believe he succumbed to the harsh elements or a wild animal attack, others think the truth may be far stranger. Could he have stumbled too close to secrets buried beneath Alaska's ground? Secrets people or something wanted kept hidden? Campbell's case left so many questions. Did he get lost in the forest? Or did he end up uncovering things no one was meant to see? Maybe he had found the hidden pyramid, and it was guarded after all. Those who believe in the pyramid's mysteries whisper that there are forces out there, forces that will protect secrets at any cost. Alaska's unseen force. When it comes to Alaska's mysterious dark pyramid, maybe the truth lies somewhere in between tall tales and real secrets hidden in the wilderness. Alaska itself seems to have a strange pull, drawing in curiosity seekers, mystery hunters, and believers who are sure something big lies beneath its icy surface. Strange events seem to have a way of surfacing here. Take Fairbanks. In June 2015, people suddenly found odd, eel-like fish called lampreys scattered across the city. These aren't fish you would usually see, much less find falling from the sky, and that was just the beginning. Later that year, thousands of dead seabirds washed up on the shores of Whittier. That many seabirds dead at once seemed strange, but then, as if the wilderness wasn't done showing its darker side, more incidents followed. On a remote beach near Afognak, up north of Kodiak Island, 10 whales washed ashore, lifeless. A few years later, in 2019, the bodies of over 60 seals were found in coastal areas. What was even more shocking, some of these seals had lost all their fur, as if something had stripped them bare. What had happened to them? How could nature seem to unravel like this? Alaska's coastline wasn't the only spot with strange gatherings. Around the same time, thousands of walruses, 35,000 in all, clustered on a single beach in western Alaska. Usually you might see a few thousand of them together, but 35,000, that's 7 times the usual count. Why did they gather in such a large group? It was as if something had drawn them in, something nobody could explain. For years, people have pointed to strange forces at work in Alaska. The Alaska Triangle, an area known for unusual magnetic fields and disappearances, fuels even more theories. Some think these strange phenomena, lampreys from the sky, masses of dead animals, gatherings beyond normal could all be connected to the hidden power of the Dark Pyramid. They wonder if it's an ancient energy source, one that might disrupt the natural order, drawing creatures or disturbing the balance of life itself. Yet, here is where things stay mysterious. For every tale of electromagnetic forces and strange disappearances, there are people who chalk it up to natural events, things like changes in the climate or shifting wildlife patterns. Others believe that the real mysteries lie within the human mind. Does this pyramid, if it exists, have the power to tap into consciousness itself, to affect the very thoughts and awareness of those who know about it? In the end, the truth of Alaska's Dark Pyramid is still hidden somewhere in that vast wilderness. It could be nothing more than stories passed down, or maybe it's something greater than we will ever understand. But one thing is for sure: the stories of the Dark Pyramid, the mysteries surrounding it, and the chilling incidents in Alaska has left us wondering what secrets this land might still be holding. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.